Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Ethereum is forming a brand new pattern that could potentially lead into some slightly bearish price action in the immediate short term. We also have a couple other indicators on the chart backing up this potential move. And once again, I'll be explaining all of that and more in this video. So especially for you Ethereum holders out there, make sure you're watching the entire video so that you're not missing out on any of this important information. But with that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Ethereum to US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame to start off with. And as you can see just here, we have formed a small bearish divergence on the 4-hour chart once again for Ethereum versus the US dollar. What we've seen is a high and a higher high in the price, but a high and a lower high in the 4-hour RSI just here. And now for those of you that were following me over on my Twitter, I did actually tweet this out over on my Twitter around half a day ago now, at the exact moment that this pattern was actually forming. So if you want to stay up to date at all times in real time, make sure you're checking out my Twitter. The link to my Twitter is in the description down below. But yeah, basically, as I explained in this tweet, Ethereum is forming a bearish divergence on the 4-hour chart. If this confirms, then it will mean that in the short term, we're due for either some sideways price action, if not slightly to the downside. And then I basically explained towards the end here that because this is in the short term, I would see this as a buying opportunity. So of course, as soon as I made that tweet just there, the Ethereum price began to drop just here in the short term as expected. But zooming into the 2-hour chart just here, in the short term right here, we are actually holding above this line of support on the 2-hour time frame. Once again, at the time of filming this video, this is coming in at roughly around 2,330, give or take. So basically, if we start breaking below 2.3k right there, then that would obviously mean that Ethereum is breaking below this support just here, and we could once again be in for a bit of downside price action just in the short term. I want to make that clear. I do not expect a massive crash or anything like that. I don't expect a massive bear market from what I'm saying just here. So I do not want this to cause any sort of panic or anything. You should not be panic selling anything. Once again, as I explained over on my Twitter, I would only see this potential bearish price action as a buying opportunity to accumulate at some lower prices. Now, zooming back out to the 4-hour chart, as you can see here, we are potentially forming a rising wedge pattern for Ethereum versus the US dollar on the 4-hour chart. Once again, preferably, I'd like to see another touch point along this resistance right here, coming in at roughly around 2,450, give or take. But we have already gotten two strong touch points along that level just there. In fact, at the beginning of this trend line, we actually saw multiple touch points along that level right here. But normally, the more touch points along a line, the better, because of course, if you've only got 2 touch points, then it is hard to say that that is really an important line. But especially taking a look at the support just here, this is definitely significant in the immediate short term, once again, just on the 4-hour time frame, because we have seen multiple bounces along this short-term support for Ethereum. So once again, that's coming in at roughly around 2.3k, give or take. And by the way, a rising wedge pattern is technically speaking a bearish pattern. So it's not impossible for the price to break out to the upside, but it's simply more likely for the price to break to the downside. And the price target, if we break this support just here, is simply coming in at the bottom of the wedge just here, which is, by the way, coming in at around 2,170 approximately. And once again, if that plays out, of course, it doesn't have to play out, but if that plays out, I will be using that as an opportunity to buy some more at these cheaper price levels. Because of course, we do also have this support level just here coming in at around that same sort of price target for Ethereum. Zooming out to the daily chart just here for Ethereum versus the US dollar, as you can see, the 2.4k level is still providing resistance for Ethereum. We have not seen a single daily candle close above that level for quite some time now. And as I've previously mentioned on the channel, if we can get a confirmed break above 2.4k, I will flip very bullish on Ethereum, because on the daily time frame, once again, we are seeing this massive W pattern form for Ethereum, which, by the way, a double bottom pattern, as the name suggests, is a bullish pattern, normally being a bullish reversal pattern. But for this to really confirm to the upside, we need to break above 2.4k with confirmation. So I'm talking like a daily candle close, a spike in volume, and preferably a retest of that level. But even if we just see 2 of those confirmations, that would be enough for me to call this a confirmed breakout to the upside. But of course, at the time of filming this video, this has not happened just yet, so we cannot get ahead of ourselves just yet. And once again, in the immediate short term, I would expect either a bit of an accumulation area just here, if not slightly to the downside. And that's also due to the fact that we have seen 9 consecutive daily candles close green, which is not something that is very common for Ethereum. And of course, after we see 9 green candles on the daily chart in a row, it is only normal, it is only logical to expect a couple red daily candles form here for Ethereum in the short term. So it would actually be quite healthy for us to experience a little bit more bearish price action in the immediate short term before we begin to gather more momentum to the upside once again to continue the trend. And also right now, bringing out the Bollinger Bands here on the daily Ethereum chart. As you can see, we are running into the top of the bands, the top of the range that we are meant to be trading in. So it would actually be unrealistic to assume that the price would continue pumping to the upside here in the immediate short term, because once again, this is also providing a bit of short-term resistance here for Ethereum. And zooming into the 4-hour time frame, as you can see just here, we've also run into the top of the Bollinger Bands in the 4-hour time frame. And also what's very interesting about the 4-hour chart and the Bollinger Bands is if we are in a short-term uptrend, usually the price hangs in between the center line and the top of the Bollinger Bands. So basically in the top half of the Bollinger Bands, while we are in a 4-hourly uptrend. As you can see just here, we are using the center line as support most of the time. And the same goes for if we're in a downtrend. The moment we break below the center line just here, as you can see throughout this time period right here, we did actually break below the center line, and we were using that line as resistance while we were in a downtrend, and using the bottom of the Bollinger Bands as short-term support until the moment where we started breaking back above that line, and then we entered a short-term uptrend once again. So right now, this line is only coming in at around the same sort of level of support as the actual rising wedge pattern just here at roughly around 2.3k. So if we break below 2.3k, then the bottom of the Bollinger Bands right here is coming in at roughly around 2.2k, just above 2.2k. And then of course we do have this support coming in at around 2,170 once again. So in around that sort of area just there is where I would expect some more support for Ethereum to come in at if we do actually see a break below 2.3k first. Of course, if we do not break below 2.3k, then those levels of support just there only come into play after we break below 2.3k. Now, quickly taking a look at the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart just here, nothing major has happened in the short term. Once again, we have had a little bit of bullish price action over the past 1 to 2 days, but when you're zooming out to the daily chart just here, as you can see, we are still in this tightening range for Ethereum versus Bitcoin, and it's the moment that we either break the support just here at 0.0555 Bitcoin per Ethereum, or the resistance just here coming in at around 0.063 Bitcoin per Ethereum. The moment we break one of those levels, that will determine the next short-term trend for Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Until we break one of those levels just there, of course, Ethereum is just going to continue to head to the side. So I don't expect anything major in the short term for Ethereum versus Bitcoin just here until we eventually break one of those levels just here, either the support or the resistance. Now, if you want to have some more in-depth analysis on Ethereum versus Bitcoin just here, definitely check out my last few Ethereum videos that are uploaded on the channel for the new viewers out there. I just don't want to be repeating the same information over and over for the subscribers out there, because I get that can get a little bit annoying. I always want to be giving you guys fresh new information on this channel. And speaking of fresh new information, right here we have the Bitcoin dominance on the daily time frame. The reason why I'm talking about Bitcoin in this Ethereum video is because the Bitcoin dominance is what determines the trends in the altcoin market, Ethereum included. Because for the beginners out there, if the Bitcoin dominance is going to the upside, then that is bad for the altcoins. But if the Bitcoin dominance is going to the downside, that is good for altcoins. Because this chart basically just shows Bitcoin's dominance, Bitcoin's market share over the entire crypto market. So basically, when this is heading to the upside, it is taking value out of the altcoins. And then on the flip side, when this is going to the downside, altcoins overall, just on average, altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin when the dominance is going to the downside. So right here, over the past 3 months, the Bitcoin dominance has been forming this massive ascending triangle pattern, and only just over the past few days we have broken out to the upside out of this pattern, and right now we are potentially in the retest phase of this pattern to confirm the breakout to the upside. So if the dominance can hold above around 47% approximately, then that will actually confirm the breakout to the upside just here for the Bitcoin dominance, and that there could potentially set us up for another move to the upside. And of course, that is bad for the altcoins just overall, generally speaking. Obviously, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule, considering the fact that there's over 10,000 altcoins out there. Not every single one is going to be perfectly correlated, but just on average, overall, the altcoin market will lose value if we can confirm this breakout just here. But just overall, on average, once again, the altcoins will continue to lose value against Bitcoin if the dominance can hold this exact level right here and confirm a breakout to the upside. So right now, I'm mostly dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and Ethereum and a couple top altcoins out out there, but my heaviest buys at the moment are going into Bitcoin. And I'll let you guys know if that changes in the future, as always on this channel and also on my Twitter, link in the description. But anyway, that's really everything I have to say for this video. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you got something valuable out of this video, because that is my goal with every single video. I want to give you guys knowledge every video that will help you make money in these crypto markets. And if you appreciate that, make sure to leave a like on the video down below and make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on for more videos like this one. And also, if you're enjoying these videos every single day here on the channel, be sure to share these videos around with your friends as well, because right now we are actually entering into an amazing opportunity in the crypto markets, considering the fact that in the immediate short term we do have an accumulation opportunity on our hands. But looking at the bigger picture, like on the weekly chart, the monthly chart, we are still looking bullish for both Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a lot of the top altcoins out there as well. So there's never been a better time to share these videos around with your friends and get involved. But anyway, that's just about everything I have to say for this video. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.